In 2012, President Obama had actually promised to end our troops' occupation in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, according to a new Reuters article, Barack Obama is going back on that promise and will actually slow our drawdown of troops from Afghanistan. Now, according to Reuters, U.S. President Barack Obama is set to announce today that he will slow down plans to draw down U.S. troops from Afghanistan and instead keep the current force of 9,800 through most of 2016 before beginning to draw down again, according to senior administration officials. Obama had aimed to withdraw all but a small U.S. embassy-based force at Kabul before leaving office in January 2017. Under the new plan, troops will be drawn down to 5,500 starting sometime in 2017 and based at 4 locations: Kabul, Bagram, Jalalabad, and Kandahar. I wonder what would happen if it gets to somewhere in 2017 and we don't have a Bernie Sanders president. If we have a Hillary Clinton, I wonder if we'll continue to draw down at that point. Now, this decision comes after months of deliberations between President Obama, Afghan leaders, Pentagon officials, commanders in the field, and White House advisors on how best to continue to support Afghan forces. This is according to senior U.S. administration officials. Quote, "Those have been broad discussions, deep discussions, ones that have included the president's personal engagement and a number of very detailed questions from the president about our posture," according to that official. Now, U.S. troops will continue to train and advise Afghan forces and will also focus on ensuring that any remnants of Al-Qaeda are prevented from posing a threat to U.S. security. Wait a minute. Al-Qaeda is not in Iraq, in Afghanistan anymore. You have the Taliban, but as far as I know, Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, I don't think they even were there to begin with. Now, he says, "Our mission won't change." Oh, really? Your mission? Well, how is that mission gone? Not very well, from what I hear. Now, the U.S., according to this article, they continue, the U.S.-led coalition in Afghanistan ended its combat mission after 13 years of war at the end of 2014, and Afghan troops have been in charge of the nation's security with help of U.S. and NATO troops. And once again, we haven't had that much success in the region, especially since there's been fighting in Kunduz. Now, as far as NATO goes, NATO allies have indicated also some interest in sustaining their presence, according to an official. There are more than 6,000 non-U.S. forces in Afghanistan as part of a resolute support mission. So, okay. I know this might not be a popular position, but we shouldn't be there. We shouldn't be there. We shouldn't have been there for all this time, for 13 years. We should have gotten the hell out as soon as we realized bin Laden wasn't there. As soon as we lost sight of him, okay, no longer need to be here. We need to go look somewhere else for bin Laden. But no, we decided to be there, and we decided to try to spread democracy. Well, what's the point of bringing democracy to a country that doesn't want it? I mean, you can't just spread your form of government by the barrel of a gun and expect everything to work out just peachy keen. It doesn't work. We tried that in other places in the Middle East with nothing to show for it. In fact, every time we've tried to do it, we made it fucking worse. We've made it worse. And this comes to where democracies, they can't be imposed. As much as I would like to have more democracies in the Middle East, more democracies in other places like Afghanistan, you can't just bring it there at the barrel of a gun. Democracies are organic. And trying to impose it by force and putting in a puppet state, a puppet leader, well, that's not going to help the situation. It's going to make them go the complete opposite way that you want them to. A good example of this is when we overthrew the government in Iran and imposed a Shah. Well, that ended up getting overthrown by religious fundamentalists. We made the situation much, much worse. Much worse. Basically, we need to stay out of the internal problems of other nations and stop wasting our blood, our treasure, trying to build up nations that will end up falling over and making the situation worse. And we've already wasted trillions of dollars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we just keep having to go back to prop up the ridiculous house of cards that we continue to build in each area. And that alone should be frustrating. To me, it's frustrating to know that all the money and all the lives, which are vastly more important than money, by the way, and all the veterans that we've created, all the lives that have been destroyed, not to mention all the people over there that were killed that were innocent. It's frustrating to know that all of that is essentially a waste. We haven't made the situation that much better. Afghanistan is still has a big problem. They still have a lot of internal strife. We should have learned our lessons, especially after the Soviets tried to do the same fucking thing and got drove out. And the thing is that as soon as we leave, it is going to get worse no matter how long we stay. And we can't stay there indefinitely. We shouldn't have been there in the first place. Now I know it's easy for me to say. Hindsight is 20/20 after all. But Afghanistan didn't cause 9/11, just the same as Iraq didn't cause 9/11. Why were we there? Why did we stay? I understand going there to find bin Laden, and I supported that. But once we got that mission over with, which by the way, he wasn't even in there for years. He was hiding in Pakistan. We shouldn't have been there for this long, spending so much money. It's not that I don't care about what happens to the Afghan people, but we cannot go in there and expect everything to change at the barrel of a gun. We can't do it. And here we are, extending our stay. The indefinite war. This is not what I'm in favor of. This is not what any of us should be in favor of. But here we are, staying even longer, and probably longer still. And why are we there? At the end of the day, what's the point? Because we know that as soon as we leave, it's going to fall apart again. So the only choice is either to leave and let it happen, or stay there indefinitely and still let it happen. And I hope not. I hope it doesn't happen. Because at this point, staying, well, even if we stay, there's really nothing to be gained. But there's still plenty to be lost.